A troubling new study reveals that one of today's most popular dietary trends, the low-carbohydrate diet, may have a far more dangerous side effect than previously believed. According to research published in Nature Microbiology by scientists at the University of Toronto, low-carb diets may not just impact your weight or metabolism, they could actually help certain gut bacteria become more carcinogenic, dramatically increasing the risk of colorectal cancer. The research exposes a silent and deeply concerning interaction between diet, microbiome, and genetic vulnerability that has been largely overlooked in mainstream nutrition conversations. What this study shows is that the relationship between food and cancer is more complex and more dangerous than previously understood. When mice were fed a low-carbohydrate diet and colonized with a specific strain of Escherichia coli, E. coli, that produces colobactin, a known DNA-damaging toxin, researchers observed a notable surge in the formation of colon tumors. The message is chilling. It's not just the bacteria alone or the diet alone that poses a threat. It's the deadly synergy between the two. Colobactin-producing E. coli are not a rare anomaly. They are naturally found in many human guts and, disturbingly, even present in some commonly used probiotics like E. coli Nissl. In a gut protected by a thick mucus barrier and populated by a diverse, fiber-fed microbiome, these bacteria are less threatening. But a low-carb diet, especially one deficient in soluble fiber, weakens that barrier. It erodes the mucus layer that separates bacteria from the colon's epithelial cells, creating a vulnerable, inflamed environment where these pathogens can move in closer, release toxins, and directly damage DNA. This damage becomes catastrophic for individuals who already carry genetic mutations in their DNA repair systems, mutations that prevent the body from fixing genetic errors that may lead to cancer. These include people with Lynch syndrome, a common hereditary condition that significantly raises the risk of colorectal and other cancers. For those individuals, the wrong diet might not just be unhealthy, it might become deadly. It's not just theoretical. Approximately 15% of colorectal cancers involve defects in mismatch repair genes, which means the population at risk is far from negligible. And what makes this especially disturbing is how underregulated and underexamined many of these dietary approaches are. The low-carb trend continues to be heavily marketed for weight loss and wellness, with little scrutiny on the long-term effects on gut health, microbiome balance, or cancer susceptibility. Adding another layer of concern, the researchers point out that even healthy gut supplements could be contributing to the problem. The probiotic E. coli Nissl, often taken to promote digestive health, also produces colobactin. If such a product is taken over long periods, particularly alongside a diet low in protective fibers, it might silently increase cancer risk in unsuspecting users. And because probiotics are not as tightly regulated as pharmaceutical drugs, consumers often have no idea what bacterial strains they're ingesting or what those strains are capable of doing inside the body when given the wrong conditions. The only encouraging finding in the study comes from a partial countermeasure: soluble fiber. When added back into the low-carb diet, this type of fiber appeared to reduce inflammation, protect the gut lining, and suppress the growth of colobactin-producing bacteria. This suggests that certain dietary modifications, particularly the reintroduction of plant-based soluble fibers like inulin, could potentially mitigate some of the risks. But this is not a solution so much as a bandage on a much larger wound. It's a reactive measure in a situation that calls for greater prevention and awareness. This study sends an unmistakable warning. The casual embrace of extreme diets without understanding their biological consequences is not just reckless, it could be lethal. We are only beginning to understand how diet reshapes the microbiome and how the microbiome in turn reshapes our vulnerability to chronic disease, especially cancer. In the race to shed weight or reduce carbs, many people may be slowly feeding the very microbes that turn against them, damaging DNA, and laying the groundwork for one of the deadliest cancers worldwide. Public health messaging needs to evolve quickly. It's no longer acceptable to talk about diets purely in terms of calories or macronutrients. The ecosystem inside our gut matters just as much, and when disrupted, it becomes a breeding ground for disease. Healthcare providers, nutritionists, and especially people with known genetic cancer risks must be made aware of these findings. Otherwise, Well-meaning lifestyle changes may turn into silent accelerators of life-threatening disease. Until further research is done in humans, and until long-term safety data is collected on probiotics and low-carb diets in at-risk populations, caution should be the guiding principle. Because this isn't just about weight anymore. It's about triggering the perfect storm inside the body, one where food and bacteria team up to break down the body's defenses from within, long before symptoms appear. And by the time they do, it may already be too late.